My girlfriend wants me to drop a female drum student, but this is my career on the line. I am 18 years old, and drumming is my passion. I have already done a little bit of touring and spent time in the studio. My dream is to become a full-time professional drummer. Right now, I work a day job as a cashier at a hardware store, which I absolutely dislike. But outside of that, I give drum lessons to earn some extra income and to move closer to my goal. I only have 2 students at the moment, but my aim is to build up to at least 6. Each student books an hour of my time once a week, pays me for the lesson, and if they cancel at the last minute, I still charge a fee. It is straightforward, professional, and helps me keep my dream alive. One of my students is a man, and the other is a woman. The woman is probably in her late 20s. But to me, it is no different from teaching anyone else. When my girlfriend, who is 20, found out, she said it was suspicious that I was spending alone time with a girl at my house and that I followed her on Instagram. When she phrased it like that, I understood why she might feel uneasy. But in reality, it is nothing more than a professional relationship. The truth is, those lessons add up to about $200 a month for me. That money helps with gas, date nights with my girlfriend, and honestly, it also helps my mental health because I feel like I am making progress toward my real career. The male student is newer and not as consistent, so the female student is currently the more reliable and steady part of my teaching schedule. My girlfriend told me I should drop my female student because I should not prioritize money over her feelings. But from my point of view, it makes no sense to give up a paying student when I am not doing anything inappropriate. Teaching drums is my livelihood, and I am trying to build a business. At this early stage, keeping every client matters. Losing one would not only hurt me financially, but could damage my reputation. So now I am left wondering, am I wrong for wanting to keep my student, or is this more about my girlfriend's jealousy than about what I'm actually doing? This woman refused to move from my seat, made me block the aisle, and then tried to act like a celebrity. This happened about 10 years ago on a flight I took to attend a big annual convention across the country. I was traveling with 2 of my senior colleagues, and because the event was starting the very next morning, nearly everyone on that flight was in the same industry. My colleagues kept greeting people they knew as we made our way down the aisle, while I, being the rookie at the time, quietly followed. When I finally got to my seat, I found a woman, maybe in her early 30s, already sitting in it. She had on oversized sunglasses, a pair of studio headphones covering her ears, her hands neatly placed on her lap, and her head tilted back on the headrest as if she was asleep, except half the plane was still boarding. I politely tried to get her attention a few times, but she ignored me completely. I even tapped her shoulder gently several times, but she did not move. Eventually, she woke up, only to look at me with complete indifference. When I explained she was in my seat, she simply pointed at her headphones and shrugged, as if to say she could not hear me. I suggested she could try taking them off, but she continued pretending not to understand. By this point, I was blocking traffic in the aisle, and the situation was getting ridiculous. So, I pulled out my boarding pass, pointed to the seat number, and showed it to her. She mouthed, "Oh," like she suddenly understood, and then scooted her knees in just half an inch, motioning for me to squeeze past her. I tried once more, but again she only tucked her knees in, refusing to move. That was the last straw. I raised my voice and said firmly, "I am not the one getting in. You are." That did it. She immediately recoiled and moved into the window seat without saying a word. The man waiting behind me in the aisle gave me a thumbs up as he passed by, and I thought that was the end of it. But she was not done. After takeoff, she tapped me on the shoulder and told me she would be open to switching seats with me if I wanted. I politely declined, amused by the sudden change in tone. Later, while I was chatting with my colleagues across the aisle, she tapped me again and said her offer extended to my friends as well. I chuckled and told her, sure. I knew exactly what she was trying to imply, that she was someone important in the industry. But it was too late. I had already texted my colleagues about what happened, and they wanted nothing to do with her. For the next several hours, she circled back to this topic multiple times. Each time, she would ask if I had spoken to them yet, and each time I would casually reply, sure, in the same lighthearted manner. This back and forth repeated not once, not twice, but 3 times during the 6-hour flight. To this day, I have never come across her professionally, and honestly, I still have no idea what she was trying to achieve with all of that. I asked my husband to flush and wipe properly, and it turned into a screaming match. My husband and I have been married for 13 years, and like many couples, it has not always been perfect. Recently, we started going to couples counseling to work on our relationship, but this particular fight It is about something I never thought we would argue over. It started when I noticed that sometimes my husband would use the bathroom and forget to flush. At first, I let it go because he works hard and I did not want to nag him over something small. But when it started happening more often, once or twice a week, I finally decided to bring it up. I told him gently, "Hey, this has been happening more lately. Please try to remember to flush." He apologized and said he would make an effort. I thought that was the end of it, but less than a week later, I walked into the bathroom and found it again. Not poop this time, but toilet paper streaked with poop sitting in the toilet. I told him, "You forgot to flush again." He admitted it and said, "Oh yeah, I guess I left some toilet paper in there. Sorry, it won't happen again." But I wanted to be clear about what I saw, so I said, it was not just toilet paper. It was toilet paper with poop on it. I did not want him to think I was just nagging about plain tissue. He has a tendency to downplay concerns I bring up, and I did not want that happening again. That is when he got defensive. He raised his voice and asked if he had to spell it out for me. I told him his tone was aggressive and condescending. Then he shouted that sometimes he does not get fully clean after using the bathroom, so later in the day his skin feels itchy. When that happens, he wipes again before showering. That, he explained, was why there had been toilet paper with poop left behind. From there, things spiraled into a full screaming match. I told him that as an adult, he should just clean himself properly the first time. He accused me of shaming and embarrassing him, but I told him that was not my intent. Still, I added that yes, a grown adult should be wiping properly after going to the bathroom. The argument ended with us both angry. We have barely spoken for days. He said he is sorry, but also insists that I owe him an apology. He even told me that I need individual therapy for my behavior. I did not want to make him feel bad, but I also do not think I should apologize when he has been so aggressive and accusatory. Considering that we are already in couples counseling, I do think we both could have handled this with more kindness. For context, we even keep wet wipes in the bathroom with a covered bin for disposal, but I'm fairly certain he does not use them. I do not know why. So here I am, wondering, am I the one in the wrong? A tourist tried to claim pool chairs with a towel all day, until the hotel gave him a reality check. This happened just last week while I was on vacation in Spain, and honestly, I am still frustrated about the audacity of some people. I was staying at a resort, and every morning there was the usual scramble for the best beach chairs by the pool. Normally, it is first come, first served. Fair enough, right? Well, apparently not according to one tourist. This man, probably in his 60s, had what he thought was a brilliant idea. At 6 o'clock in the morning, he would put his towel down on the best chair by the pool and then disappear for the entire day. I am not exaggerating. His towel sat there for nearly 8 hours. I watched this chair stay completely empty from morning until mid-afternoon, while families with children were standing around looking for seats. By around 2 in the afternoon, I had had enough. My girlfriend and I had been stuck on uncomfortable plastic chairs all day, while this prime spot sat unused. So, I moved his towel onto the side table and we took the chairs. About an hour later, he finally showed up. His skin was already bright red from the sun, and the moment he saw us in the chair, he completely lost it. He started yelling at me in broken English, saying that he had reserved the chair and that I had no right to move his things. I calmly told him, "You cannot just drop a towel on a chair at dawn, disappear for 8 hours, and expect everyone else to stay away. That is not how it works. There are families here who actually wanted to use these chairs." But instead of understanding, he got even more upset. He told me this was how they do things in Germany and that I was being rude to a guest. At that point, I was finished being polite. I looked him straight in the eye and told him, "You are not in Germany anymore, and your towel is not a reservation system. If you have a problem, either find another chair or speak to hotel management." His face went from sunburn red to purple, and he stomped away, muttering in German. About 10 minutes later, he came back with a hotel staff member. But here's the best part. The staff member very politely explained to him that chairs cannot be reserved for long periods of time, and that guests need to actually be using them. The look on his face when the staff sided with me was priceless. He spent the rest of the day glaring at us from across the pool, but the chair was ours. And honestly, it felt like a small victory for everyone who had been watching this happen all week. Some people really do think the world revolves around them, but at the end of the day, a towel is just a towel, not a magical reservation system. She set up 2 meters away on an empty beach, then complained my child was too loud. Recently, I was visiting my in-laws in another European country. One afternoon, we went to the beach. It was a beautiful day, and the beach was far from crowded. We picked a spot, laid out our mat, and started to relax. Our 4-year-old did exactly what children do at the beach. playing in the sand, running around, and enjoying the freedom of the open space. About 20 minutes later, a woman arrived. Out of all the empty space around us, she decided to set up her things barely 2 meters away. It felt strange, considering how quiet the beach was, but we thought nothing of it. After all, nobody owns the beach. Not long after, she started sighing loudly. She kept glancing over at us, making it obvious that she was not happy. Then she took a phone call, speaking in the local language. To our surprise, she began complaining about us. She said our child was too loud, that our little one was a brat, and that we were rude foreigners ruining the place. What she did not realize was that while we were speaking English to each other, we also understood the local language perfectly. So we switched languages mid-conversation, right in front of her. The look on her face when she realized we understood everything she had just said was priceless. She quickly grew quiet, looking embarrassed and sullen. A little while later, she packed up her things and moved further down the beach. I still do not understand why she chose to sit so close in the first place, especially when she had the whole beach to herself. Maybe some people just enjoy putting themselves in situations where they can find a reason to complain. They posted a job ad full of insults, then said they might not even pay workers at the end. I came across something online recently that I just had to share. I was scrolling through my local Facebook marketplace when I stumbled upon what can only be described as a wild post. It was a couple asking for people to help them clean and move things into their new house. Pretty standard at first glance, until I read their actual requirements. Since I could not post screenshots, I copied and pasted their list word for word. Here is what it said. We need a third and fourth set of hands to help us move into our new house. Flexible schedule after the unload, but we need people starting September 5th, 6th, and 7th for the initial moving truck delivery. They will carry everything in while we direct traffic. So far, not too unusual, but then it took a turn. They added, this will not work if you cannot laugh and have fun. You are sensitive to heat, light, work, or being useful. You require a safe space. You do not have a car. Your watch is broken and you cannot show up when you commit to. You cannot work without being supervised every minute. You cannot work 2 hours straight without whining. You feel the need to rethink everything instead of just following instructions. For example, if you start every sentence with, I thought, you cannot work 15 minutes straight without checking TikTok or Instagram. And if that was not enough, they finished with this. Some people we tip well. Some we ask for a refund. Which are you? Yes, you heard that correctly. Imagine telling people they can work all day moving furniture in the heat, and then at the end you might not pay them. Or even worse, ask them for a refund if you decide they did not deserve it. The rest of their post was just as bad. A complete train wreck from start to finish. I honestly hope nobody actually falls for something like this.